Motherfucker.
Okay, there we go. All right.
This is me?
Okay.
Oh.
All right, we're good. Jimmy Dore is live.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. That was a great show in Las Vegas last night at the Wise Guys Comedy Club. What a great room that is. They've got 2 of them now. I think maybe even 3 in Las Vegas. That was a nice 350-seat room. And, of course, we sold it out, right? We're very popular. And I did an extra long show because I was drinking Negronis for my birthday. Anyway, it was great. Then I went to Allegro's afterwards for dinner at the Wynn. Fantastic. All the food over there. They had the pizza, 9.5. That's how good it was. It was great. We got a lot of great stories today to get to, so let's get to it. So they had an election in Venezuela. And the United States has been wanting to overthrow the government of Venezuela and control it because, well, they have more oil in Venezuela than Saudi Arabia. Okay? So keep that in mind. That's what this is all about, right? That's why we're sanctioning Venezuela. That's why we tried to overthrow their government. And that's why we recognized Juan Guaido as this is all about the capitalists want that oil. Okay? That's what this is all about. And here's Secretary of State Antony Blinken. He's going to say what a bad election it was. Watch this.
If my colleagues will indulge me for just 1 minute, I want to speak quickly to the elections that just took place in Venezuela. We applaud the Venezuelan people for their participation in the July 28th presidential election. We commend their courage and commitment to democracy in the face of repression and in the face of adversity. We've seen the announcement just a short while ago by the Venezuelan Electoral Commission. We have serious concerns that the result announced does not reflect the will or the votes of the Venezuelan people.
Boy, let me just say this. If he's so concerned about the democracy in Venezuela, wait till he finds out how his own party picked its presidential candidate. It's a real gut buster. Yeah, the party elite just installed somebody without anybody voting for her. Is that something? Yeah. Okay.
It's critical that every vote be counted fairly and transparently, that election officials immediately share information with the opposition and independent observers without delay, and that the electoral authorities publish the detailed tabulation of votes. The international community is watching this very closely.
And by the way, when he says the will of the Venezuelan people, he's talking about a handful of people he installed there to bend the public will against his opponent. That's what he's talking about. Okay.
And will respond accordingly. Now.
So let's get out our decoder rings and figure out what this guy's actually saying. What he is saying is it turns out he means that actual democracy has overridden the takeover coup that he had planned over there. No wonder we're so concerned. Looks like we're going to have get a false flag going over there, at a terror event on ourselves that we blame on Venezuela, giving Iran a momentary reprieve. So this is amazing. By the way, what in the fuck is it of any of your business how Venezuela runs their country? You guys don't have any problem with dictators. You guys have not. You're in bed with most of them. This is not about any. This is about, again, us wanting to coup a government so the capitalists can come in and steal their natural resources. That's what this is about. And don't be. First of all, their election, every impartial election observer I can find says it's on the up and up. Ajamu Baraka says, I'm in Venezuela as an observer and can say with certainty that after systematic interference by anti-democratic forces in the United States, we're the ones messing with the democratic process in Venezuela. As usual. You know any history at all about the United States and South America and Central America? If any history at all, it's the United States that's doing it. The election results represented the sentiments of the people who voted. What is not being reported is the organization that took place to win. Here's another guy, Alan McLeod. He says there are over 900 foreign election observers here in Venezuela, me included. If there was anything substantial to these predictable claims, we would have seen it. So, of course, the United States is going to come out and say that the election is fraudulent. That's, of course, what they're going to do. They do it all the time, every election. Instead, it is the same story every election since 2000. The United States says it's fraudulent and a dictator. And then I say, of course, the United States government and corporate media are saying that Venezuelans' election is fraudulent because Venezuela has more oil than Saudi Arabia. And that's why the United States is constantly trying to overthrow their governments and sanctioning their economy, which is why 7 million people left Venezuela. And where do you think they came? Once again, the United States is the terrorists. Here's TJ Blade said, is that how you say his name? I don't know how to pronounce that. He says, one of the reasons we keep an outpost in Colombia, too. The plan to overthrow Venezuela and exploit its resources has been on their agenda since the 50s. He said, I started on a video compiling all the times we've attempted coups and assassinations there. It became an hour long. So then you have people like this who just buy the propaganda 100%.
That turn blonde in the sun.
He says, I don't disagree with you about the U.S. foreign intervention.
And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down.
But you're wrong on this one.
So it was straight and then watch the hair come back up again.
What? It's obvious there was fraud here. The people, my question to you is, why do you give a fuck about an election an election process in Venezuela? Because you're told to care. That's why. Because you're told to care. There was what's the African country? Somebody just got elected with 95% of the vote. We didn't say a goddamn thing about it because he's our puppet. Oh, I wish I can't remember who that was. The people of Venezuela wanted out of communism. How do you know this? How do you know this? And Maduro had his military stop voting, run off with ballot boxes, etc. From what I'm seeing. What do you mean? What are you seeing? What are you seeing? Fox News report on this? Are you seeing MSNBC's? Are you seeing the Jeff Bezos' Washington Post? The people who lied about Russiagate at the top of? You mean those people? The people who lied about currently lying about Ukraine, lied about Libya, lied about Iraq, lied about Syria and Iran? You mean those people?
Rwanda.
This Rwanda, this isn't just from the United States government and corporate press. Well, where is it from? So if you want to know the facts, Venezuela has voter ID. They have fingerprint ID. They have one day of voting at a designated location. They have a paper ballot trail. Electronic voting machines are not connected to the internet. Multiple audits and same-day results. U.S. elections have none of that. So you're being propagandized again. Why? Why do you even have a fucking opinion about an election happening in Venezuela? A government we've tried to overthrow a zillion times. Here we go. Here's Senator Chris Murphy.
You know, I feel like it's Groundhog Day in this committee. We've been told by the administration, frankly, multiple...
It reminds me of people who had deep emotional opinions about ivermectin. had arguments on with comedians, top of our lungs. It doesn't treat, but ivermectin is that's a horse paste. Why do you have an opinion on a medicine? Because you were told to. Same thing here. Why do you have an opinion on the Venezuelan election? Let Venezuela figure out their fucking problems. If it wasn't a good election, let them figure it out. They have way more safeguards in place than the goddamn United States, okay? So here, let's listen to what he has to say.
I feel like it's Groundhog Day in this committee. We've been told by the administration, frankly, multiple administrations for years, that Russia's support for Assad and Iran's support for Assad is tepid. It's fragile. It's just a matter of time before he falls. The truth of the matter is they were always willing to do more than we were in Syria to protect their interests. And that is likely the exact same case here in Venezuela. And so our policy has been misguided by fundamentally flawed assumptions from the beginning. And I have deep respect for both of you who are testifying before this committee. But we just have to be clear that our Venezuela policy over the last year and a half has been an unmitigated disaster. And if we aren't honest about that, then we can't self-correct. We have to admit that our big play, recognizing Guaido right out of the gate and then moving quickly to implement sanctions, just didn't work. It didn't. All it did was...
So he's saying, our thing to recognize an illegitimate leader of that country after we tried to do a coup and all the generals sided with the government. They didn't do, after we did that. And then we did economic sanctions on them. It didn't work. None of this is working. What does he mean by working? He means overthrowing the democratically elected government of Venezuela and installing our puppets. That's what he means by working. Why the fuck do we, again, that's just all the United States does, is meddle in other people's countries and governments. That's all we do, and that's exactly what this is.
Pardon Russia and Cuba's play in Venezuela and allow Maduro to paint Guaido as an American patsy. And a lot of us warned that this might happen.
Because he was an American patsy. You get that? That's why he was able to paint him as an American patsy, because Juan Guaido was an American patsy.
We could have used the prospect of U.S. recognition or sanctions as leverage. We could have spent more time trying to get European allies and other partners on the same page. We could have spent more time trying to talk to or neutralize China and Russia early before we backed them into a corner from which they are not moving. They're not moving.
So what he's saying is we could have strategically handled this better, so our overthrow of the Venezuelan government would have went better. That's what he's saying. We should have negotiated with China and Russia and made sure they would allow us to do what we wanted to do in Venezuela, which is overthrow their government and steal their natural resources. That's what he's talking about. That's what he's saying. This is how they talk in suit and ties and $300 haircuts. This is how they talk about creating chaos and being a terrorist organization, which is what the U.S. government is. He's talking about being a terrorist and overthrowing another country's government and bending it to our will, not the will of the Venezuelan people.
But all we did was play all our cards on day one, and it didn't work. And it's just been an embarrassing mistake after mistake since. First, we thought that getting Guaido to declare himself president would be enough to topple the regime. Then we thought
we thought if we just acknowledged and recognized an illegitimate leader who wasn't elected, that would be enough to topple their regime, meaning overthrow their government. He's just telling you what we're doing.
Aid on the border would be enough. Then we tried to sort of construct a kind of coup in April of last year, and it blew up in our face when all the generals...
We tried to construct a coup. We tried to construct a coup in Venezuela in April 2019, and it blew up in our face. He just said it. We tried to construct a coup in another country. What in the fuck? And there are people on Twitter right now, on my Twitter thread, not upset that we keep doing that, but think they should have an opinion on an election in Venezuela. You know who should have an opinion on an election in Venezuela? The people in Venezuela. The people who are the terrorists don't get to have an opinion. That's legitimate. Who gives a shit what this guy thinks or anybody else in America thinks about Venezuela's freaking election? This is all imperialism. That's all this is. Again, you're falling for it. If you believe that Antony Blinken is worried about the will of the Venezuelan people, you're a chump of the highest order, and you've learned nothing from Iraq, Libya, 20 years of Afghanistan, Syria, Ukraine. You've learned nothing.
That were supposed to break with Maduro decided to stick with him in the end. We undermined Norway's talks last summer, and then this March we released a transition framework that frankly is almost a carbon copy of the very one that was in front of the parties last year.
So, if you have an opinion and you're upset that somehow the election in Venezuela wasn't on the up and up, you've been propagandized. That's the result of it. All of a sudden now you have an opinion about another country's election. That's up to that fucking country to worry about. I bet it involves us overthrowing their government again. I bet that's what this is all. Do you think that's where it's leading? I bet it is. Okay, over to Steph.
Okay. Hey,
by the way, come back to me.
Back to Jimmy.
We'll see you. We're going to be in Duluth, Georgia, that's just outside of Atlanta, suburb of Atlanta, at the Gas South Theater, beautiful theater, September 6th. We have the link up at the website? No, it's not. Oh, when is that coming? Why do we got to wait to midweek? What? Whoa, that's crazy. He said he was going to get it last Friday. What? It's 5 weeks out now. We got to get the ticket link. What the fuck? How hard is it to come up with a ticket link? Why is that hard? It's Monday. It's a work day. What else are they doing? They doing other shit over there at the Gaslight Theater, whatever the fuck? What are they doing today? How about you get the fucking ticket link? You gotta be shitting me. How about the Jacksonville, Florida Terry Theater? Okay. Well, September 6th and 7th, it's Friday and a Saturday. We're going to be in, can you put that up over my shoulder? We're going to be in Duluth, Georgia. And then on the Saturday, we're going to be in Jacksonville, Florida at the Terry Theater. So tickets will be coming soon. Ticket link coming this week. Fingers crossed. Anyway, and there's still tickets available at the Ramova Theater in Chicago. Yes. And there's still tickets available at Grand Rapids. Oh, I got to give you the comps for the Chicago. Okay. Okay. All right, over to Steph.
Okay. Hey, would I get to meet Misha with that diamond membership? Right? I'm asking for a friend who's actually me. Look at you, slap nuts. Yeah, as soon as we start doing the Rumble Time with Jimmy Dore here in LA. Usually Misha will be there, just hanging out, looking cute. That's really how she does it. All right, Slap Nuts. Thank you, Slap Nuts. Hey, message community. Good community, good communion, good communication, good communism, bad. Why? These words all have the same roots. Millionaires and billionaires are unnatural. Everything needs to be balanced or to the scale will tip over and then chaos. Look at our society today. It's collapsing because it's not balanced. I agree with Jackson. Thank you, message. Here we go. Jack says, so today I'm watching the episode of Comedy and Everything Else.
Oh, my God.
With your interview with Norm Macdonald. We were just talking about him. His Nixon impression will always make me laugh. Please give us a new Norm story. Oh, Jack Early, we were just talking about this last night. So when people, impressionists, like, you're not supposed to really ask them, can you do this? It's like, you
do an impression. You're not supposed to.
You're just not supposed to ask them.
99 out of 100 impressionists will not do an impression if you ask them to do it on the spot.
And so we had done Comedy and Everything Else at, with Todd Glass, and we're hanging out in the kitchen, just like, hanging out after the show. And I knew I wasn't supposed to ask Norm this, but I asked him if he could do his Burt Reynolds impression. And without a beat, he went into Burt Reynolds, and it just made my life. And I got to tell you, like, I wished I hung out more with Norm Macdonald. I really wish I did, my life. And I'm sorry that he's gone.
We hung out a lot.
He was wonderful.
We used to sit by the fire.
Are you ready, Jimmy?
Yes.
Okay, back to Jimmy.
Sure, it's a common ocean, perpetual emotion, but I don't need the comfort of any lies. I've seen the ending, and there's no ascending rise. Oh, back when I was younger, was told by other youngsters, it might well be sunset beneath the earth.
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletter. Just visit
Isn't it swell? The memes make themselves. They found a rabbi hole, tunnels and all. There's Jews in the walls. Isn't it bliss? The rabbinical grace soiling the mattresses. Well, let me tell you. If I were Rabbi Shmuley and diddle 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 digga digga diddle diddle dum, all day long I'd diddle little bums. If I were a Shmuley man, I'd peddle all my dildos, dreidel dildos, selling dildos with my daughter and her mum. If I were a Jewish Shmuley man, I'd be digging with a dildo in my bum. I'd wear a grotesque nose and go grab some goyim right on the nipple with a pinch. A Shabbos lap dance brace for the youngest mensch.
At this time, more than any other time, you know, revolution is necessary. It is necessary. Not only based on what has happened with the MOVE organization, you know, the babies that have been murdered, you know, MOVE adults that have been murdered, bombs being dropped on us, but past that to what is happening with all black people, so-called minority people, you know, money poor people. You know, this government, as has been said earlier, has waged war on us. But you know, something about us, particularly here in America, we don't really understand that. You know, we don't really know what war is. You know, for black people, for poor people, that people see as good, that they wasn't forced to do, that they didn't do to try to keep black people appeased, you know, and calm down so that black people wouldn't riot. A prison situation is a crystallized example of that. You can make phone calls in prison. They have movies in prison. But they don't have those things because they just want to be nice to prisoners. They have those things because they know damn well if they don't have, you know, people being able to contact their family, if they don't have, you know, facilities for people to sit there and watch movies, people are going to be frustrated, upset, and they're going to direct that frustration at them prison administrators. And they're going to have riots on their hands. You know, they're going to have people in them prisons turning them prisons out. That's why they have movies. That's why they have access to phones the way they do. And a stop to it when we don't like it, or encouraging it when it's something that's in our interest. You know, we have to call the shots. The people have to take the reins of this system and start dictating, you know, what we need, what needs to be done. And, you know, taking the initiative to do it ourselves. We can't rely on this system. I mean, you know, don't people see what's happening? Every single confrontation that MOVE people have been involved in, every single issue, you know, oppression, economic issues, every single issue facing our people, you know, is something that can be dealt with very, very simply. All people got to do is make their wishes known. All people have to do is stand up and say, listen, we're not accepting that. Unity is the key. Unity is the key to revolution. Revolution ain't nothing to be afraid of. It ain't nothing to shy away from. Revolution, contrary to what officials, you know, this system and those backing the officials running the system, you know, want people to believe that revolution means violence, you know, means blood in the street. I'm saying it can get to that point, but it don't have to be violent. You know, when people come together and take a strong stand on an issue, this government don't have no choice but to listen. Where you think they get their authority from? They don't have no power, but they do have authority to do certain things. Where you think they get it from? They get it from us, from the people. You know, they get it from us accepting the things that they do to be done to stop it. Then you have some people who want to then turn around and say, yeah, well, you know, it's the best we have, and want to make excuses. The time for excuses is over. It's over. You know, every man, woman, and child has to be involved in this revolution. Not only has to be, but is, whether you want to be or not. I mean, our babies gave their lives for this revolution on May 13th. You know, men, women, and children were murdered. And not just babies, you know. What about all of the young men, women, you know, children 8, 9 years old shot down on the street by cops, you know, by drug pushers? I mean, you know, where do you think that mentality comes from? It comes from this system, from the mentality of this system of getting over, you know, making a quick buck, you know. I'm saying that's where that needs to be done to stop it. Then, you know, what I want people to really, really understand is that it's past time. It is past time for poor people, black people, you know, to realize that this system has failed you. It has failed you. You can't get nothing from it. And what people got to do is withdraw our support from it and start doing for ourselves. That's what we got to do. You know, how long are people going to sit back and beg, you know, this government to do what's right when for hundreds of years all you've gotten is a slap in the face? All you've gotten is this government kicking your ass. That's all. That's all black people have ever gotten from this government.